What's up, everybody? Welcome to Fantasy Sports Now. Welcome to the injury report as of 4/6. We do these every Tuesday and Friday, and they're really quick hitting injury updates for the MLB. Use them for fantasy purposes, use them for your bench guys, use them for general knowledge. Let's jump right into the content. So I can't start this without talking about Fernando Tatis. Late last night, a lot of you guys probably didn't see yet or haven't heard yet even. So last night he swung at a pitch that he did not hit. It was a strikeout, and he went down hard. He went down holding his shoulder. It was obvious pain. It didn't look good from that standpoint. And it sounds like he dislocated his shoulder, or at least partially, when he swings. Apparently, this happens to him sometimes. So that's the one, I think, good sign, I guess. The bad news is, like, the way it looked alone is enough for me to just imagine that he is going to be on the DL for maybe not forever, because it's not something that I think that is going to linger like a hamstring or an oblique would, but it's something that is likely going to put him on the DL for a little while here. He's obviously their big deal contract, so for me, they're not going to toy around with this. It's still early in the season. They're just going to put him on the DL, and that's it. That's all you're going to get from him. So that is unfortunate for San Diego, as their pieces continue to just kind of fall apart here. Some guys are coming back, though, so that's good. Second one we got to talk about is Ohtani. He pitched, obviously, a few days ago, and he got barreled, basically, at home with Jose Abreu. It was it wasn't funny, but it was like almost reminiscent of the old days when you could barrel catchers, but it was Ohtani. Unfortunately for him, it was enough for him to come out of the game and not start the next day. So he didn't play Monday, and it sounds like he did come in Tuesday, which I did not see. And so it was very unfortunate circumstances, but it sounds like, the good news is, it sounds like he's fine. It sounds like he's going to play. It sounds like he's going to be all right. So that is great news. It doesn't sound like he's going to have any problems going out and pitching or hitting again. The big issue with Ohtani was always his elbow, so I'd rather him take a bump physically somewhere else than have his elbow be an issue. So I think you're going to be all right with Ohtani. I'm not too concerned about that. I did see Tim Anderson, and here it is, hamstring issue, which is not good for, again, I feel like the same teams are having a lot of injuries. The White Sox have another one here with Tim Anderson, hamstring issue. They're thinking it's going to heal quickly. It's not that I'm not convinced. You know, it's hard to delineate some of the information off of just such a small piece of information, and the fact that, you know, a lot of times they lie and say, "Oh no, he's fine." To me, a hamstring issue with a guy who generally is a little bit quicker and needs to play shortstop, especially, he needs to be able to be mobile, is something that usually lands guys on the IL. But in this case, it sounds like he might avoid it. I'd still lean IL more so, maybe a short stint, maybe one where they backdate it. And he's only out for a few more days. But it's not good news for the White Sox as injuries continue to rack up, which is never what you want to see. Eduardo Rodriguez, we're getting into some better news here. It sounds like he might pitch later this week. I know he threw a bullpen, which went pretty well. He had this whole dead arm thing, which usually it's not a complete death sentence. We talked about it a little bit before. It doesn't necessarily mean he's going to have Tommy John. A lot of times it does lead to Tommy John, but maybe he's one of the lucky ones here, and he's okay. So this is something I would not stream Rodriguez's first start, but if you're in a deep league, it might be worth thinking about adding him at this point, because his potential is great. And if the dead arm thing was just kind of a fluke, then you could have some tremendous value coming out of him. So it's something to keep an eye on. Watch that first start. Chris Martin, relief pitcher for the Braves. Usually, it's not too big of a deal. Well, I don't want to say it's too big of a deal, because the Braves obviously losing a relief guy is a huge deal, but for fantasy purposes, it's like, Chris Martin, why is that a big deal? It's a big deal because now it kind of clears up Will Smith to be the starter in Atlanta and to get all the saves. So Chris Martin's fall is Will Smith's gain, and you can use that kind of as you will for fantasy purposes. Will Smith is probably already owned in all of your leagues, but if he's not, then this is good news for him. For Chris Martin, certain, it's obviously not good. In fact, they don't even know, and they haven't announced yet what is wrong. He just came out, had some kind of injury, and nobody has said what it is yet. So that was a couple days ago. This is as of the 4th. So it's a little concerning that they haven't said anything, which makes me believe it's probably something with his arm or his back or something that's going to keep him out for a little while. You don't just come out of a game for an injury that's unknown and not come back again. The next one is Ke'Bryan Hayes. Terrible news, really, for Pittsburgh. Can things get worse for Pittsburgh? The answer apparently is yes, they can, and their young superstar Ke'Bryan Hayes is on the injured list with a wrist issue. The good news is it doesn't sound like he got hit in the wrist. It wasn't like a pitch that came in high and he took it off the wrist and they think it might be broken. It sounds like that's not the case. Usually a fractured wrist, whether it be through getting hit or swinging, is not good for your season. Usually when that happens, you have just diminished power, and it really affects your swing that season. It's happened time and time again. For people who injure their wrists, it usually ends up being an avoid because their power doesn't come back until the next season, which could be the case here, but for Ke'Bryan Hayes, it's not broken, which is good. MRI showed inflammation, which is obviously not good, so I expect him to come back and have to deal with this probably up until somewhere around the All-Star break. I mean, that's how lingering these wrist injuries are when you're swinging a baseball bat. It sucks. It's not fun. It's never good. So it's unfortunate news for Pittsburgh. Yeah, we'll just keep it at that. Christian Walker got hit in the face. I did not see this. Sounds awful. I had a buddy who got hit in the face before. His face swelled up. It was not a pretty sight. He was fine. He broke his cheekbone, which sounds like right about where he got hit, and he couldn't really see out of his eye for a day or two, which I assume is going to be the same thing with Christian Walker. And there's a mental issue with going back and standing in the box again when you get hit in the face. So I expect it to be probably another week till you see Christian Walker again. Hopefully it's not as bad as it sounds. Stanton, when he got hit in the face, was out basically for the year. It doesn't sound like it's that bad, so that's good. He hasn't been put on the IL yet, to my knowledge, so that's probably good for him as well. So it's a good sign there. Good news here, actually, from the injury report, Zach Gallen is pitching again. I was not expecting this. I thought he'd be out until probably May, late May, but it sounds like he's back pitching again with that fractured forearm, and that's great news. So if he's available in your league, then maybe it's time to think about an ad here and get in before everybody else does. Like I said, I thought he'd be out for much longer than this, but he's not, and so far it sounds like everything's going really well, so that's great news. Grisham is coming back, so that's good news as well. If he's available in your league, I would highly recommend adding him. So that's good for the Padres. The open a window, close a door kind of thing. That's what it sounds like here with the Padres, but it's good that they'll get Grisham back. High upside kind of guy that you should probably think about owning. Springer, it sounds like he'll be back. I'm just trying to get through the rest of these. I don't want to make this video too long for you guys. Sounds like he's going to be back when he's first available to come back. I still think that's a little optimistic with this type of injury. And when he does come back, I don't expect him to be 100%. If he does come back early, I really don't expect him to be 100%. But we'll see what happens here. Not much of an update on him, so we'll see how that goes. Sixto Sanchez, still I have no update on. Sore shoulder, they don't know. I think he's going to be down for more time than expected. I think they're going to baby him big time, and I would too. He's their prized possession. I would not touch that at all. And then I believe we have Sonny Gray, which is good news again. To me, he's out pitching 60. I don't know how hurt his back is, but I'm ready for Sonny Gray to be pitching again. I don't think I'm going to put him back on here again. I think it's time for him to pitch, and I think that he's ready, and I think we'll see him really soon. So that's it for the injury report, guys. If you like what you saw, hit me with a sub, and we'll see you next time.